Friends, I don't know about you, but anytime we have like a new event that I'm featuring where I'm featuring a bunch of titles and series from a certain magazine, I love learning new things, and I learned a lot when I was preparing for this video. Hello friends, happy Wednesday. So very excited that you're here. We are kicking off a dessert manga theme video series for the next 3 weeks, at least till the end of this month. All the polls will be about dessert magazines, all the quizzes, except for this upcoming Friday video, which will be my reading wrap up. After that, it will all be dessert manga, and I'm just very excited. I feel like I've increasingly got more into this magazine. I wouldn't say it's a super favorite for me, at least, you know, when I compare it to, say, Hanetsu Yume, or the magazine that has Glasses with a Chance of Delinquent. Those two are definitely my top 2 favorite magazines. But I've just increasingly found more series I really love from this magazine. But as I mentioned, as I was doing research for this, because today I'm going to talk about 5 series I had no idea was in the dessert magazine. And there were actually a lot more that I had no idea. I honestly feel like the dessert magazine we know today is not the same of what it was a few years ago, which isn't a bad thing. But I really feel, listen, this is not my personal take, okay? I'm just saying what I've seen online, but a lot of people have said they feel that Dessert Magazine is the vanilla shoujo magazine that's very bland. It has very beautiful art, but that's all it's got going for it. I don't agree with that, just to put that out there. I do enjoy how it is more of a fluffy magazine. I would say there's not really a lot of angst, but no, that's not true. That's not true. I thought of You Might As Well Be the One. I'm like, no, that's got angst, that's got some messiness, but I feel overall the big series that we think of, In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, A Sign of Affection, Love That's an Understatement, like these are series that for the most part are very fluffy. They're low stakes, and I for one appreciate that. But then again, when I went through these series, I said, oh, this doesn't really fit the mold of what I know. So let's go on an adventure of 5 different series I didn't know had serialized at some point in the dessert magazine. First one being, now these are in no certain order though, but the first one being Beauty Bunny. And I feel bad because I have just had the view of this manga that it was a mature manga. I don't really know what gave me that idea because I found out it was 13 and up. And not only that, my friend Coco did a post just recently on Instagram talking about if you want series, say like Bless and the Makeup Remover, that are centered around makeup, here are some shoujo and josei series that you could suggest to different publishers. And she actually had this one included since it doesn't have a physical release. And I was like, okay, I'm like, if Coco was recommending it, then it's not a mature series. So I felt reassured with that because I hadn't even read the blurb. I just saw the cover, and I think it's because in the past, this series has been put alongside other series that are more edgy, for lack of a better word, again, comparing to what Dessert Magazine is right now. Because if you saw my poll yesterday, which is still ongoing for the next shoujo quiz that we will do, like for next Thursday, not this Thursday, that there's a manga called Peach Heaven, and apparently the creator of Beauty Bunny is the same creator as Peach Heaven, which has definitely a little bit more, I think it even says erotic vibes compared to some of the other titles. So from my understanding, Beauty Bunny is a makeup manga, and I was very surprised that they call it, was it a makeup Cinderella love story. It's about a 17-year-old girl who has no interest in makeup whatsoever, but her mom, I guess, decides like, hey, we're going to Tokyo, and so they end up moving there, and on the first day of school, she's told she's super ugly. And not only is she told that she's ugly by another dude, but this apparently is one of the most popular guys in the school, and his family owns like some kind of big cosmetic business. It's just sort of like putting more like stones, I guess you would say, on her, or more rocks, and just really discouraging her. But I guess she gets fed up with him because I guess this is sort of an ongoing thing, and he finally is like, hey, I'm gonna help you sort of have like a, not a glow up, but he gives her a makeover. She's very impressed that he can do this because he can do it like a pro, which would make sense if his family is in cosmetics. But I guess it's gonna be their romantic love story that unfolds. I truly had no idea that this is what this manga was about because I guess it was called Beauty Bunny. I thought something else. I'm trying to think of what I thought of, maybe like the Bunny Girls, and I thought it would just be something entirely different. I even did a quick flip through on Kodansha's website. It's the first time I'd ever seen anything about this series, and I said, Laura, you know, if you had just looked all those years ago, I probably would have never avoided this in the first place because I really enjoy makeup manga. I think they're very fun, and as somebody who has not really used makeup in the past, I find it very interesting to read these kind of series and learn something new. And as I did, I learned something new, that this was in the Dessert magazine. Now, I didn't check to see when, but it was definitely a very big surprise to me, same as number 2, and that is Akari Won't Be Tamed. I've seen this cover, and I remember I was interested in it a long time ago, like when it first released digitally and was on NetGalley, kind of interested. But I don't know, somebody said that it was, I don't know if it was a good thing they said or a bad thing. I don't even remember, but y'all, I just can't believe when I see this cover, I'm like, it was in Dessert magazine. And I guess it's just because I don't associate Dessert magazine ever having anything where let's be this girl or this guy's pet and they act like a dog. I just don't know. I don't have any kind of association with this magazine, period, for that. And so I was shocked to find that I guess the female lead, it says she's been the shadow of her model actress younger sister. And so when this very popular actor, popular actor comes to her, she's like, oh, he's just here for my sister. He's like, no, I'm interested in you. And I don't think she takes this man seriously. I don't know how the female lead even looks because I didn't think to see the sample before filming this video. But yeah, he expresses he's interested in her and wants her. She's like, no. So I guess he comes up with the idea of like, okay, you don't want a boyfriend? What about a pet dog? I said a pet dog. Like, I was like, what is this? What is this? Y'all, in the past, like, week and a half, I am just so shocked of how many times I have seen references to, mainly the female leads, calling themselves dogs or being called a dog. And now, in this case, the male lead saying he could be the dog. I just never would have guessed. I mean, the reviews, I did skim through the reviews, and it seems to be a really cute read. I don't think I had the same idea, though, like I did with Beauty Bunny, where I just, like, this is a mature manga again. I think it was just what it was, whatever sale. I feel like confident it was a sale that was part of, and I said, oh, so these look a little bit more on the edgier side in terms of romance compared to my fluffy reading. Okay, no judgment, please. But I thought it'd be a little bit more edgier. This one, I don't know. I need to check out the sample because I would have never in a million years thought this would come from the Dessert magazine. I probably would have chose the same one as Glasses. Or I feel like there's another one, maybe Lala. One of those two, I think, but not Dessert. Not Dessert. This is a completed 2-volume series. Beauty Bunny, I think, is completed at 6 or 7 volumes. I should say everything that I'm featuring today is available in English in some form or fashion. But y'all just was so shocked. And I am very curious about this now that I have read the blurb and I saw the reviews. I'm very curious of how tame it is in the manga and what exactly is going on here. For number 3, I still can't get over that this was in the Dessert magazine because this feels the most edgiest, I think, out of all the ones I'm featuring that would come from this magazine. And that is Say I Love You. I've never seen the anime. I've never read the manga. I know that it is, I don't know if iconic is the right word, but I do know that it is special to several readers. It's about our female lead, I think her name was May, and she has just sort of, like, she's done with friendship. After her friends did something to her in elementary school, she decides she doesn't want to be friends with anybody. But that sort of, when she's like, I guess in high school, gains the attention of this really popular guy who is interested in her. And I don't know if oh, that's what it was. Because the reason I was like, how'd they start getting to talk? Is because she accidentally roundhouse kicked him at some point, and that leads to a relationship. I was like, how do you accidentally roundhouse kick him though? I'm like, that's quite the accident. Again, I know that this manga is very popular. And the reason it really surprised me, because anytime I've seen references or like any screenshots shared online or any reviews online, everybody has always mentioned how much there is not emphasis, but really important conversations about physical intimacy between the leads and I guess other people, where there's just these conversations that are not typically found ever, I shouldn't say ever, but I feel like in these newer shoujo manga, usually I feel like from what I have read and what I've seen and what other people have said, we don't get intimate bedroom scenes like from my perception, okay, I can't speak for this for certain, but from my perception of what I've seen online, that we don't get those kind of intimate scenes in the bedroom like we do in Say I Love You, or even just talk about being safe when you're in the bedroom with other people. Like, we don't see that, I feel like, in these newer manga. Yes, you may have, like, thinking of one manga, I don't want to say what it is because it'd be spoilers. Yes, you know that the leads have been intimate in the bedroom, and it was something that built up over several volumes, but I believe, because I'm not fully caught up on that series, that it was almost sort of like behind closed doors. Like you knew it happened, but I don't think you actually saw anything. Now, I don't know if you see anything and say I love you, but I just know that there's a lot more conversations that people have said are very relevant to today in when it comes to that kind of intimacy. And so I was just really shocked. Sorry, I know I've like repeated myself over and over, but this is a series that I just feel is not dessert coded. I wish I would have done more research to see what manga were coming out during certain times to be able to track what exactly was Dessert the Magazine. Was it a more edgier kind of series that didn't have this prestigious fluff to many people? I would love to know, and I didn't think of doing that, but it was very fascinating to me to know that this series that has an anime and is an older shoujo, because I feel like, you know, we've got A Sign of Affection in the Clear Moonlit Dust. Supposedly there's a rumor we're getting Fall in Love with False Angels that has not been confirmed. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised, actually, but we have these series that are more fluffy and, you know, don't, again, address those kind of conversations. So was completely mind blown, completely mind blown, and hopefully I'm doing that this series justice. I wish I would have gotten the first volume from my library just to have an idea, because again, I've never read anything with it. It's just what I've seen online, and when I was going through, I think it was my anime list, and I saw it on there, and I had to do a double take. Now I'm like, this is a dessert manga? What? And I guess continuing that trend. For number 4, honestly, I thought this series was a shonen. I don't think I've ever seen a single person talk about this manga ever, especially from the shoujo community, and that is the manga called Real Girl. I didn't even know this had an anime. I've never seen anybody read the manga from the shoujo community. I've never seen anybody read the manga, period. And I've never even heard anybody talk about the anime. When I read the blurb of this for the first time, it instantly made me think of Loving Yamada. It has those gamer vibes, though I guess it is different. But the male lead, he is all into virtual games, virtual reality, I guess. I don't know if it's virtual reality. I think it just said virtual life of anime and video games. He's really into that. And he has to go clean the pool with one of the girls. She's not like the most popular, but supposedly she's easy with the guys, I think is what the blurb said, and she's very sassy, she's very open and opinionated. He just becomes smitten with her, and it goes against, I guess, how he would typically be, and so it's his first time experiencing love and wanting to be in a relationship with another person. And I could not believe, not only is this a shoujo, but it was in Dessert. From what I've seen, no recognition. Was like, what? Especially too, for me, having what made me think of Loving Yamada, I have no idea if they have even any kind of similarity, was really surprising. Like, extremely so, because I feel like maybe that could be a good connection, or, you know, if you like seeing characters into video games, then maybe you would like this kind of thing. But no, I haven't seen anything. I'm not the biggest fan of this cover, like looking at it, it's not a personal favorite for me, and I really don't know where I got this misconception that this was a shonen series. I have no idea. I feel like I've only seen this series in passing a few times. In fact, I'm gonna look, I've never even seen the rest of the covers. Yeah, I feel like personally probably not my favorite set of covers. I do like the bright colors though. I do feel, wow, this is a really long series. Oh, it goes up to 12. Look, and it even says right here, customers who bought from this series also bought My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999. So I must be onto something. At least, I don't know why Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You's on there, but there must have been some kind of link there. I feel a little bit better, feel a little bit more validated in that. But yeah, if you've ever read it, let me know. Or if you've even seen it, even if you didn't like it, I would just be curious to know, have other people checked out this manga, checked out the anime? It just, again, it's almost like, okay, so I have a review coming of I'll Never Fall in Love with Amino, which I have shared tweets and posts on Instagram about, of how I was reading it. And it reminds me of that, of where it's like, this is a dessert manga series, but it's woefully underrated and there's no hype for it. And it was just very surprising to me, and I guess not every dessert series can be hyped up, but it does feel, again, with the modern shoujo we are getting from this magazine, they are big hits. And so to have these other series like Real Girl go completely under the radar with an anime at that, is just very, very surprising to me. So yeah, so let me know. And then for number 5, I don't know what to say about this one, because if you are a Patreon or a YouTube channel member, then you saw, or maybe you saw my video that I posted exclusively for you guys yesterday. And even if you're not a member, you might have seen my YouTube thumbnail. And I said, will I connect with this manga on the 3rd time? Because I've tried it 3 times. I still can't get over that this is a a dessert series. I understand that the creator is in, like, they have a big series. I can't believe I forgot to mention that one. But the series I'm featuring that I was shocked on is Wake Up Sleeping Beauty, the same creator of A Condition Called Love, which is also a big hit from dessert. I love that series so much. Yeah, the reason I'm shocked that this is a dessert magazine, because when has there ever been a paranormal romance, a paranormal story in this magazine? Never would have guessed. Never would have guessed, because all of the things I've mainly seen, even with older series, they're all contemporary romances. And I guess you would say that, well, this, Laura, this happens in the modern world, but it's like there's a supernatural element. There's a supernatural element because it's about our male lead here. He decides to get a part-time job. I don't remember what his reasonings are, but he gets a part-time job that's at this place that's known to have a haunted mansion. And that's where the female lead lives, and he's very drawn to her. He thinks she's sweet, she's very kind, and she also seems just very lonely, so he wants to keep her company. But then something happens where he goes to talk to her, and she does not seem anything like herself from the previous time or previous times he has interacted with her. And so he's wondering what the heck is happening? What is going down? Now, I have tried this series before and I have not connected with it. Now, I don't know if it's because it does have a paranormal aspect to it, which is not my go-to. I don't know if I have it up here, but you guys voted, was it last year, for Cockerio Bed and Breakfast for Spirits? And so I have increasingly read more supernatural kind of series and really clicked with it. So, and I'm also a big fan of always coming back to a series, trying it again, because you just never know. I've had that happen with me a few different series, so I'm excited to come back to this. A friend really wanted me to try this series again, so I'm gonna give it a shot. But I still can't believe that it's in the dessert magazine. Is there any other series that anybody would know that maybe isn't the same as Wake Up Sleeping Beauty? Because I do feel it is very interesting in terms of what I have seen and like spoilers I've seen about later volumes, but just to know a supernatural romance. Like, is there any other, I mean, when I was going through, now granted, I will be honest, I was just looking at titles that have been brought over and translated in English. I wasn't really focusing on what hasn't been, but I'm pretty confident near the end of this month, we will be talking about 5 different series I would love to see physically printed in English, but I think all the ones I want in English are contemporary romance as well. So it's just, this one really stands out to me of the oddball, and I don't mean that disrespectful to the series or any fans who deeply love this. It's just, it's not a series I feel was the norm for dessert magazine at all. Granted, that has to have been quite a while ago. I forget how long the serialization has been for A Condition Called Love, but it's been for several years, and this series came before A Condition Called Love. And I believe a friend of mine said and saw in the creator's stories that there's a character in here who actually influenced, I don't know if it's the creation of Hanoni, but I guess maybe had some inspiration of Hanoni's personality and how he acts and just in general. So I did think that was very interesting. Yeah. A supernatural romance. I probably will never get over that, but I truly hope that coming back to this series that I really, really will enjoy it. I'm telling myself, keep an open mind. And, you know, this time I'm going to not just stop at volume 1, I want to read past that. Now, if I get to volume 3 and I'm really, really not liking it, then I admit I probably will drop it, but I want to give it a fair chance because I believe in that. And just to be able to feature a supernatural romance from a magazine that's extremely popular today because of its contemporary romances, y'all, that feels like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity right there. And I would love to just, I guess not for the sake of this video, but I would love to try it knowing that, keeping it in mind and seeing what made Dessert Magazine to decide to keep this series going and also put it in the magazine in the first place. Because if it's so different from everything else that they have been releasing for many years now, not just in, you know, like the big 3, big 5 of Dessert Magazine right now, but in the past, there's gotta be a reason. There's gotta be a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's gotta be a reason. There's gotta be a reason. That's why I'm gonna read it, and I hope I really, really enjoyed, and hopefully you found this video interesting and amusing to watch, and I would definitely love to know, you know, there are other series that you're like, I can't believe this was in the Dessert Magazine. Please let me know, because I'd be very curious to see what your picks are. Let me know if we had any in common, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!